Sega. In 2222 AD, 3 exploratory spaceships departed our overpopulated solar system in search of new worlds to colonize.
Lola, why are you crying? Lola, why are you crying? Lola, come here.
5 years later, the ships were listed as missing and presumed lost. The last transmission. We are approaching the planet Voltagius, less than a week after the incident. A massive alien vessel materialized in the vicinity of Mars. The vessel's heading, the third planet from the sun, codename Earth. Whiprush.
2222 AD, the invasion of the Voltagians. You got it, boss. Level normal. Speed shot option. Okay, cool. Rock and roll. Let's get it. That's a cool transition. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Not on a Sega Genesis game.
Sega Mega Drive. Power to the players.
Drive out the intruders. All right. Ooh. Oh. Hell yeah. Ooh. F. Oh no. Give me the other one back. Oh no, 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 no. Give me the other one back. I made a mistake. Anyway, this is a whip rush for the Sega. Sega. This weapon sucks. For the Sega Genesis, I never. Oh, damn it. I'm losing a lot. I'm bad. I've never really heard of this game. I just know it was a space shooter, and there's a ton of those all over the place, so I was bound to play it at some point. Might as well let that point be now. Ooh, by the pixel. Am I hitting it? Okay, I guess I am. Give me M for missiles. Oh no. Oh, that's a pretty neat effect. Blind me. So before, so with these kinds of games, specifically shoot 'em ups, I'm always thinking to myself, there's not really a whole lot about the game to talk about, because it's it is what it is, it's a shooting game with pretty straightforward, you can see. So I was like, well, what do I talk about? And then I couldn't come up with an idea, honestly. Honestly, I could not figure out what the hell I was going to talk about. So I guess I should think about what I should have thought about before I even started recording, which is what I'm going to talk about during the recording that is not related to the game, because there's nothing about this game. I mean, I don't really know what to... Yeah. So I guess, you know what? No, you know what? I was gonna talk about something. Oh God. Well, maybe I should shut up, because apparently when I open my mouth, I lose.
Drive out the intruders.
I gotta start all the way over here. Well, maybe I won't get that crappy weapon again. So in real time right now. P. What is the P? Oh, sick. Oh, sick. Oh, and then he got a laser too. So in real time, it's May 21st. So you know where we are in the real time. I mean, this probably isn't going to go up for like a month, so it'll be different by the time it goes up. But anyway, and right now, what's going on in my life? I journal time. I am unemployed because I got laid off from work because, you know, that's how it be sometimes. I'm trying to get this job at a bank because I feel like a bank would be a good, solid option. You know, it's like safe, I guess is the word. Where I feel like I think working at a place like a bank is a place I don't have to worry, because I've worked retail before, like only other than when I was in school, and I've seen the like how volatile retail environments are, and not in terms of like the job itself and like the things you have to do. I mean, granted, there is some of that, but more in just like how the industry's changed and continues to change. And there are aspects of retail I think that will be fine for a long time because people need to get these items. And for example, like grocery stores I think are safe because you're not going to order food and hope that it arrives. Like, no, you're going to go out and you're going to buy it. And I don't think that's going to change ever. Even with the introduction of things like Instacart and stuff like that. And I see more stores going that route, but I don't think it's going to be as... And if it does turn into a thing where it becomes the norm, it's going to be a long time away. Like, it's not going to go away. And then, even then, it's not going to eliminate the need for physical grocery stores. Like, I don't think that's ever going to go away. So... Oh no, I got this stupid thing again. So there's that, you know, and then but then like what I've worked in terms of like retail, like consumer electronics and consumer products, right? A lot of that stuff is like the patterns have shifted, right? People are like, if you think of the last time you bought, say you needed a cable for your phone, like a phone charger, right? Like, did you actually go to a store and talk to someone about which cable you needed to buy? Or did you just go on Amazon and be like, I need this cable, you know, as long as I get it before this time, like, who cares, right? And I think that's just kind of like the way it is now. And for a lot of stuff, right? And first it was little things like that. It was like, oh, well, I don't need to go to the store to buy this, you know, like, oh, whatever. Like this phone cable or this video game or this, you know, record, or I mean, actually, well, that's a bad example. But you know, just like oh, I'm gonna need a fan because it's gonna be hot, but I don't really feel like going, so I'm just gonna order it and it'll just show up. Or even things like I need cat food. A lot of people just do it and they have it like on a schedule where it's like they receive it every, you know, every like week they'll get like a bag of dog food or cat food dropped off at the door because it's convenient. They don't have to worry about it, and it's the same pricing. So, like, you know, why the hell not? And I feel like a lot of, especially like I mentioned, the retail I've done has all been in consumer products, consumer electronics, like that kind of stuff. Like the need for that, a lot of that stuff has gone away, and the kind of people that need help with that stuff, that population is declining because it's older people, right? Like. Yeah, there's gonna be stuff where you're gonna be like, oh, you know, I could use a hand picking this out, but it's not as big of a thing as it was before. Where like you can just do research on your own now. Like you don't need someone to, you know, you don't necessarily need someone to kind of walk you through like, how do I buy this, you know, how do I buy this TV or how do I buy this phone? It's just like. No, like, you know what the phone does because, you know, somebody told you about it or your friend has one or, you know, you know what a phone is and you did your research. Like, or, you know, even something like, oh, man, I want to buy, damn, this game's hard. Or, you know, like, whatever it is. Like, I want to buy a Ring doorbell. It's like, okay, cool, just buy a Ring doorbell, and it has instructions on how to do it. Like, you can literally do everything by yourself. You don't need anyone's help for any of that stuff. Like, do they offer it? Yes, they offer it, because, you know, there's people out there that don't want to learn how to do that stuff, or who just don't have the time, or are really just like, I don't feel like I'm gonna get it. Like I feel like I'm gonna mess something up. I'd rather just not have to worry about it, which is fair. There's that exists for a lot of things, and you know, like that's always gonna exist, but not to the same capacity where like you can make a career out of you know, like places like that. Like, you know, the reason I'm unemployed right now is because they're like, hey, we don't need as many employees for this thing because we're, you know, you guys are paid more than the rest of the employees, and you know, like we've noticed that we don't really need this many of this kind of employee because it's just we're not overpaying, but like we're paying more for like premium salespeople, but we don't really, like, a lot of the people aren't really doing premium sales. Like, you know, they're not coming in for that, or if they are, a lot of that stuff is happening online now. So, you know, like, you don't work here anymore. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. But it is one of those things where it's like, you know, if even things like oh, I'm going to buy a stove, or I'm going to buy a fridge, right? Like, a lot of that stuff used to be like, well, I need to talk to a specialist because how the hell am I supposed to know which, like, thing to buy, right? Oh! Ship is so slow in the water. But now it's like, well, you know, you can just do research and compare and contrast, and as long as you measure your space, you know, you're like, oh, well, as long as it'll tell you put in your measurements of your thing, and it'll tell you, like, yes, it'll fit, no, it won't fit. And it's like, all right, cool. You literally just, like, that was the whole reason you went into a store to buy these objects. You know, you might go into the store maybe to look at them because you want to, like, feel them and stuff before you buy them. But other than that, it's like, I don't really need someone to walk me through. And, like, I know I'm not in the majority when it comes to, like, you know, when I buy my stuff, I'm just like, I don't need, like, to go talk to someone and have them try to sell me something. Like, I know what I want, and I'm gonna get it. Because I did my research and I read my stuff and I talked to people and I already know. So it almost even to at that point, like, for like me, for example, like going to a store becomes kind of an inconvenience. Like an example is recently, me and Alyssa went to the AT&T store because it's like, hey man, you need a new phone. We need to move your phone over because, you know, so you don't have to worry about data. Your phone's running out of storage. Like, let's just upgrade your phone. So we went and I tried doing everything online, but there was an issue with the system and it was like, no, you can't. So I was like, you know what? I'm being forced. And I called and they were like, yeah, you got to go to a store. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't want to go to a store because to me, that's an inconvenience. Like, I'm at a point, and I'm not sure I'm not the only one. We're at a point in where going to a store to do something is an inconvenience because you're like, what do you mean I can't just do it from here? Like, I have to go somewhere and do it? Like, why can't someone just, like, why don't you have a system online for me to do it myself? Like, I don't need to involve anyone else. Like, I'm competent. I know how to do it. But it just so happened that, like, what we were trying to do, there was issues with the system, and it was the AT&T system that was being stupid. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is. We went, and it's like, hey, we know what we want. Like, we want this and we want that. And, like, we're ready to go. And it's like, oh, well, do you want to sign up for this? No. Do you want to sign up for that? No. Would you like one of these things? No. And it's those things where it's like, I understand, like, it's their job. And, you know, they're salespeople. And I was one, so I get it. But, like, for me, I'm at a point where it's like, I don't even want to deal with that stuff anymore. And I know I'm not alone in that because that's why people buy so much stuff online now. And it's just crazy that, like, you know, those industries have changed so much. And, you know, I think of, like, when I worked at Sears and how that whole thing worked. And had they not gone bankrupt, like, they would have eventually, like, something would have had to change because they were, you know, operating like it was 1985. Laser, yes. And just interesting that, like, so much of that has changed, and like, it's no longer like a viable option for what used to be like, you work somewhere and it's like, well, as long as you work hard and, you know, you know, there's a chance to, like, move up and you can be a supervisor and then you can be a manager and then, like, vertical movement. And it's just like a lot of the stuff that had that doesn't exist anymore. So I bring all this up because you know, I mentioned, like, I'm currently, like, I'm in the process for interviewing and doing stuff to work at a bank. And for me, it was like, I feel like at least with the bank, the risk of the job becoming obsolete, I think, is lower. So it gives me more hope that, like, you know, because like with Sears, it's like, oh, I'm working at Sears and I'm trying all this and I'm moving up, and then they're like, oh, well, now the company's bankrupt, so you don't, like, all this vertical movement you did, like, you're done. It's like, oh yeah, cool, like, go to Best Buy, and then, you know, I'm like, cool, I'm trying to get better and like learning all the systems and like all this knowledge that only applies there, and then it's like, oh, well, you don't have a job anymore because your job's been eliminated. And it's like, okay, well, now I need to start somewhere else, and I'm like, it's getting to a point where I'm like, I need to pick something that's not risky, and to me at least, and I don't know, I might be wrong, I can't tell the future, but at least to me it feels like banking is safer in that regard, where I don't have to worry like, oh man, and in 5 years people aren't going to use banks anymore, they're not going to go to the bank anymore. And I know things like crypto and all this stuff exists, and people are like, get rid of banks and like give me my money and that kind of stuff. But I think, I don't know. I don't think that it's going to be as simple as like let's get rid of the banks and it's done, right? I think that's too much of a, like, there's too much of, like, I guess, like the infrastructure of the country is dependent on banks and loans and all this stuff. So I think it fits a little bit safe. What the hell? I don't even know. Anyway, this game is really difficult, and I think I'm done. But it is cool. But damn, it's hard. So yeah, that's Whip Rush for the Sega Genesis. Hopefully, by the time this goes up, I'm unemployed anymore, and I'm working. And maybe, who knows? Maybe it's the bank. And if so, then good for me. And if it ain't, well, hopefully it's something that is not going to go away in 3 years, because that's going to suck. Because I'm going to run out of things to go to. So, anyway, I rambled for a while. I guess we'll never stop the... what are these guys called? We'll never stop the Voltagians.